Hey friends, welcome back to Bible Fun with the Nuns. The dog requested to share Proverbs chapter 16 with you. So
he has not been living
Orville.
the proverbial life, though. He is.
Well, you know what?
He's pretty wicked.
My verse might go with him.
Okay, all right.
There were a lot of verses in this that stood out to me and spoke to me, and they're very different. Like, they don't tie up in a bow and make one big takeaway.
Have you noticed, though, that, like, where they're all broken down and they don't always connect, that even within one chapter, you can be like, all right, I read that one now, jump 5 or 6 down, and you go, well, that one kind of builds on that one.
Yes.
So there are connections, even though they're all kind of separate.
Mm-hmm. But I kind of picture Solomon like, what shall I write?
Sitting back
Or
with his feather pen.
Yeah.
I picture him with a feather pen.
I picture him carrying his moleskin around.
What's a moleskin?
It's a little journal.
So it's not like the skin of a mole?
No.
Okay. I picture him with like a feather pen.
You're wrong. And a quill.
Yeah.
A quill.
Yeah.
No, and just taking a journal around, and as he thinks of stuff, let me add that.
Let me write that down.
Because these, the flow is interesting. So I'm just going to share my one verse. Let's be wild and crazy. I know. I could talk about a bunch, but I'm going to talk about this one because it's kind of interesting. Verse 4, it says, "The Lord has made everything for its purpose, even the wicked for the day of trouble." And this is a topic that, reading through the Bible chronologically, it keeps coming up because we see, like, okay, I'm in Job right now. We see Satan saying, hey, God, look at your servant Job. Well, even God's like, consider my servant Job. And I'm like, let's not bring my name up. But
like the kid in class putting his head down, like, don't look at me, don't call me.
Yes,
yeah.
Let's don't bring me up.
Yeah.
I no tests, please, thanks. So we see this good versus evil. We see all of Satan's plans pretty clearly. He's pretty open and even tells God what he's going to do. But what we see with God is he's in charge the whole time. And so that's my takeaway from this verse. God is sovereign over everything. He would never be the active agent of evil, but those who act evil, it's still under his authority. He's like, okay, you can test Job. You can, put him through this, but you can't touch his life. You can't kill him. He is on a leash. And I think that's one of my favorite pictures from Pilgrim's Progress. Yeah. That God is in charge no matter what. And that's the kind of God I want. I want him to be, to have authority over all.
You talking about in Pilgrim's Progress where the lions are on
and they're
the leash?
On the chain.
And they can't get to him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I thought, you're talking about, the Lord being the king and all. There is a couple of big sections in this. Now, obviously, they don't all link together like this, but some do have sections. For instance, when you get to the end of the chapter, you get to about like verse 27. An ungodly man digs up evil, and it is on his lips like a burning fire. A perverse man sows strife. A whisperer separates the best of friends. So this is a whole chapter about giving us some pretty extreme warnings. So this is the chapter where we get kind of our saying we use all the time, pride comes before a fall. Well, really in verse 18, that's where we get this. It says, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. When you go down toward the end of this, it gives us basically the red flags of troublemakers. I wrote in my Bible in the margin, verses 27 through 30, they're the anti-peacemaker. So Jesus said, blessed are the peacemaker. Well, this is the ungodly, his lips are like, whatever comes out is like burning fire.
The chaos maker.
Perverse, the whisperer, the violent. He winks with his eyes, but he does perverse things. So these are the red flags of somebody you got to be careful. Why? Because they're the anti-peacemaker. But then it's going to talk about also in verses 10 through 15 about the good king. So his mouth is not going to transgress in judgments. Honest weights and scales are his. The throne is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are the desire of the king. They love him who speaks what is right. And so when we finish reading the book of Proverbs, we're going to move to the book of 2 Kings. And we're going to read about all of these Israelite kings. And the dominant trait is, and they did evil in the eyes of the Lord. Well, when you start applying, what kind of king is this describing? Because it's not what we're seeing in 2 Kings. You're figuring out that there's a better king coming. Only Jesus can fulfill the types of imagery that this is giving. So my looking at this, I'm trying to look at, all right, what do I take out of today, and what do I go with? So for me, it was 2 verses. And again, these were kind of like 2 that weren't next to each other, but they were about the same. So verse 3 says, commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. And verse 9 says, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. So what I'm taking away from that is I've got to surrender every part of my heart to the Lord's directions. I can plan and pray, but I gotta follow the Lord's leadership and all that. And that the consequences that I have for my behaviors, they come when I make decisions and I don't go his way, and I don't accept his discipline, and I don't accept his correction. So consequences are when I'm not committing my ways to him. Adrian Rogers said of this, like, the Christian life is designed like this. Adrian Rogers, we set the sail, but God makes the wind. I like that.
I like it too.
Okay. David Jeremiah says, asking the Lord to direct one's paths is way better than having to ask the Lord to correct one's mistakes. I like that
Judy
one too.
says, write your plans in pencil.
Judy
doesn't
good.
say that. Someone
That's
else said
So,
that.
hey, when I go to staff meeting, they're always like, all right, jot this down in pencil. And I only bring a pen. I'm like, not me, boys. It's on the calendar. We're doing it. Yeah, we're doing it. So, okay. So commit your works to the Lord and your thoughts will be established. Let me give you a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step process. Ready? Here it is. Plan, pray, act, trust, depend. Let me say that again. So plan, pray, act, trust, depend.
I wish it made a word.
It doesn't.
Padded.
Padded. Hey everybody, turns out we ran the battery down on the phone. So,
Or the phone thought padded was really dumb.
hey, we hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow in the very next proverb. Bye.
Bye.